enforcement, okay? So we'll explain everything to you here as soon as she's ready. She's in here, we can shut the door.
Is she FDLE as well?
No, she's from Daytona Beach.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right. So, like I said, do that. We'll go through all this first, and then obviously explain everything. You're definitely in custody, so we have to read your Miranda warning and all that stuff, and we'll get to it, okay?
Yep.
Special Agent Chris Shepard with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Today's date is May 4th, 2022. Approximate time is 11 a.m. Currently at the Flagler Beach Police Department. Also with me is Daytona Beach Detective Mary Toledo. And with us is Kimberly Kilpatrick, which I'm going to go ahead and read you your Miranda warnings here. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions, and have him or her with you during that questionings. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed to you before any questionings if you wish. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer presence, you will still have the right to stop answering any time. You also have the right to stop answering any time until you talk to a lawyer. Do you understand all those?
Yes.
All right, and with that in mind, are you willing to talk to us
Yes.
at this point in time? First, I'll start this off with, you have any idea what this is about?
Yes.
What do you think this is about?
It's about the continued involvement with David Fouts and his family. The money that I had paid to Good Samaritan because I had borrowed money from Alexa Fouts. So it's more of the witch hunt from Gregory Cook and Carly White.
Okay. What money are you talking about?
There was some money that I had borrowed from Alexa back in, it was the end of 2016, in January of 17. I was purchasing a home in Daytona, and I was on an account with her where we were depositing money from funds collected for her family after Dave's crash.
Mm-hmm.
And I get, it looks bad on the surface, but I had borrowed the money to pay, there was a creditor thing I had to pay for the loan on the house, and then I did, there was a separate incident for the title company because the sale of my house was messed up because the people buying my house at the time, the money from the title company didn't push it through or collect it. There was no money at the time, and I had also the closing on the new house the same day. And because the funds weren't in there, I contacted Alexa, told her what was happening, and Joe Sweats at the time was with me. He took a check to the bank to get the certified check.
And who's Joe Swift?
Joe Sweats, we were dating at the time, and he was with me there.
Oh, okay. So
Joe Sweats went with you to do what again?
He was with me closing on the houses, doing the
Okay.
closings, and I gave him the check because I had to stay to finish paperwork at the first closing.
Just so we're clear, which check?
It was just one that I sent. He went with the bank to get. It was I would say it's for around $7,000, somewhere in there.
mm-hmm.
I don't
Okay.
remember the exact amount, and that was to the title company.
Okay, you can't, well, I'm pretty sure you can't, title companies don't take personal checks, right?
Right. He had to go to SunTrust and get the certified check. He went to the bank and did that for me.
Okay, so back at SunTrust.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was with the title company still.
okay, and that was in,
That was January 2017. It's like in the second week of January, I guess. I don't
Okay.
remember the exact date.
all right, and you recall a debt collection wiring?
Yes,
Okay.
that was in, I want to say November, December of
Okay.
16.
And what was that about?
I was in the process working with the mortgage company to get the loan and stuff, and then I was on that account, and then it was like some hindrance on the loan and stuff, so I had asked Alexa if I could just pay that, and the deal was I was gonna pay into, 16, I was paying it back after the sale of the house, and then he went into Good Samaritan, Dave went to Good Samaritan, so I said I would pay the money to Good Samaritan, where he was at rehab.
Okay. What was the kind of conversation you had with Alexa? Alexa was what, 21? 22 then?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So what,
I called her up, I said, hey, I have a situation, I wanted to ask you, because at the time, things were kind of stable. I know on the surface, it doesn't look good, I get that, but I didn't pressure her or anything, it was just, I'd asked her, I said I could pay it back, and that's what I was doing, and that's what I did. And that
did Alexa know everything? Did she know how much was getting, I mean, that benefit account, pretty much all the checks, you pretty much took care of that entire account, with the exception of taking the end result, the 20,000 that was at the end, and give it to Alexa, to when you close the account out.
No, I'm sorry, say that again?
The benefit account,
Yeah,
you probably wrote maybe 10, 11 checks out of there.
no, I didn't.
Yeah, they're all have your signature on it, and they were all, the majority of them were for Dave. You paid off a,
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Like there was a cremation
Yep,
service.
yeah, for
set
$20
up.
or something. There was something from Iron Horse Motorcycles. You wrote a check to them.
I don't remember.
It might have been
remember
for a
those.
raffle. So the majority of the stuff from the benefit account was for Dave.
Okay.
But Alexa didn't seem to have any, she had no workings with that account, it seems like. Her name was on it, but it seems like you pretty much handled that entire account. Just from the paperwork.
No, because she had the debit card and stuff. She used the debit card for things, and she didn't write a lot of checks, I know, but I didn't think there were that many checks even written.
There weren't a lot, but there were.
So going back to that, how'd that account become into existence?
Originally, Carmen Miller, she was a victim advocate. She had suggested that we open an account and we could put the money in there that was being collected for the family. So that's what we were doing. And because there was like GoFundMe and stuff, so that's where we were putting that in there. Alexa had her account at the time, and I think, Dave and Jen had their own account, but I didn't have any control or anything over those.
Okay, so then this money starts going in there from GoFundMe, and were there money from other
Some
sources?
fundraisers
Okay.
and stuff, yeah, donations.
And how do you come about to help set that account up?
So I was friends with Dave,
Mhm.
and I stepped in to help with Alexa and Kevin, and I was at the hospital with them, so I was just with them, and she kind of like, I don't know, myself and some of my girlfriends, we were all just helping take care of her and stuff, and
Was that something that the
Keep her-
chief wanted you to do because the kids were young?
no. The chief knew I was friends with them, and I had known the kids since they were younger, so.
Right.
I knew Dave when he started, because we were zone partners, and I actually gave him the money to pay for his divorce when he got divorced from Estelle. Like, I mean, it was just, that's what, we were friends, and so yeah. But I knew them, and I mean, the chief never specifically said I had to step in and do something, so.
Okay. But would it be fair to say that you are kind of in charge of this account that was set up? For the SunTrust account. I mean, obviously you're the one that's writing checks on it. Obviously you're saying that you wrote a check to a closing agency from this account, right?
Yes.
So you're in charge of the account.
Your name was on it.
Co-charge, yeah, my name was on it, yes, yes.
And at the time, Alexis, how old? 19, 20?
20, yeah, 20.
Okay. And then when Dave goes into Good Samaritan, you are the one they're saying that you're writing. How do you pay for that?
Good Samaritan?
Yeah.
I
So-
paid for that.
Out of what?
Are we talking what I paid back, or?
You said you borrowed some money and you paid it
Yeah,
back.
I paid that back. I paid that out of my
How'd you pay
account.
that back?
I paid that out of my checking account and
And that went to who?
credit card. Good Samaritan.
So you paid Good Samaritan directly?
Yeah, I paid them. I forget the months in January, I was making small payments directly to them from my checking account. And then I ended up losing a job because of certain people. And then Joe Sweats had moved out. So, and then I paid them off with 2 credit cards. Yeah, there was 2 credit cards and my personal account, and I paid it, and then some.
Okay. So, and going through this at the time you're working at the Port Orange Police Department, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of money coming in. Who'd you make aware at any point in time that there was some sort of deal going on with the family?
Maybe
Like,
a deal.
You said you're borrowing money, right? You're getting a loan that's based out of this account that was set up for David to medical bills. Obviously, he's got a ton of medical bills coming in. I mean, he was hurt pretty bad.
His house.
His house, his wife.
Well, the house.
Well, I'm saying is there was he was living in a house.
Yeah.
So moments before he's in this crash, I mean, they had a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the account. Typically in a situation like that, that's what the account's set up for, right? Medical bills and all that stuff.
Yes.
Okay. So in the house, but the house. You have any idea what ends up happening to the house that he had before?
Yeah, I know what happened. He was behind on payments, and I actually went to Bank of America. They wouldn't give us much information, but I had paid, I want to say $1,000 towards the payments.
Towards his house?
Towards his house in the beginning.
From which account?
From the same account.
So there's a check written to Bank of America for $1,000, is what you're saying?
I don't think it was a check. I think it was a card, a debit payment, or it could have been a check. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. But it was at Bank of America right there at Nova and Dunlawton.
Okay.
Because I went in there and I paid $1,000 towards more because he was already behind in payments. So we paid that.
So did that make it up? Did that bring it up to?
No, because the payments I think were $1,400 or $1,700 a month, I think. So, and it didn't get caught up. So
How much was he behind? Do you remember?
I honestly don't remember. I know he was behind at least 2 months worth, I want to say.
Okay, so around 3,000.
3 to 4 grand.
Yes. So, and this was in the beginning when the account first opened. So I put the $1,000 at the mortgage company or the bank. And then with him being in the hospital and then having because he was going back and forth, it was like.
You guys thought he was going to die, right?
Well, at one point, yeah. And then he would have surgery and then he'd come out of it and he'd be like better than he was before he went into surgery. It was kind of like back and forth, but.
Kim, let me ask you a question. All right, I'm not trying to be an asshole, nothing. I just want to be upfront with you. You borrowed money out of a benefit account. How do you think that looks?
I know,
You know what I
I
mean?
know, I know how that looks, and I get that, I'm not,
Yeah, and that's the
I
issue.
don't
And
dispute
We're
that.
saying that, so what do you think, again, ballpark, total money did you borrow?
It was at, I'd say 24.
1,000?
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking he's 3,000 to 4,000. What ends up, as the house starts to get, so I'm saying, is like, so that's what we're saying, is that's why, how does this look on the surface, is
Right.
you're borrowing money, meanwhile bills are going unpaid.
No, that's inaccurate.
Well, Alexa writes in a letter to the court that she could not save the house because she didn't have the money.
Right. But the money, that was, the house already went into foreclosure and she moved out before I borrowed the money.
The house wasn't bought in Daytona until April of 17.
Right, after the settlement, she moved to an apartment. The house was done, it had gotten damaged in the hurricane, there was a tree that fell on the roof. She was out of that house before I had borrowed the money. And the house wasn't a matter of not getting paid, it was a matter of, at the time, he was going from home to home. $19,000, I think, was paid to Vista Manor in Titusville. So, like, it was being paid, and then
Where did
he
that
was-
money go? Where did that 19,000? Where did that come from?
The same account,
From the benefit account, the checking account.
the same account.
Okay. And all the money that was in the GoFundMe went into that benefit account. Is that is that correct?
Yes,
Except for whatever percentage GoFundMe takes.
yes, right. But, yes, that was all put in there.
So, again, this is where, again, on the surface,
Mm-hmm,
did you do anything, even on a tissue paper, right? Like Kim Kilpatrick, am borrowing $24,000 from the benefit account. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
I was told there was a logbook that you guys, from Carmen Miller, that there was a logbook that kind of kept track of the money coming in. And the reason I know that you have to was because we recently, obviously, we had Rainer just pass
Yeah,
away.
no,
There
we
was a
didn't.
ton of money coming in, a ton. And we had to find a way to keep track of all of that so that nothing can come back to bite, that
Yes.
everything, every penny was counted.
no, I don't have,
So no logbook ever existed
I didn't have a logbook, no. There was-
Okay.
No, and I don't,
to keep,
well, I
you
didn't
know what I
have
mean,
one.
right?
Yeah, but, yeah, I didn't have a logbook. I don't recall ever having a logbook.
Or knowing anything about a logbook that
The
that
only thing I
maybe
remember
Carmen knew?
Carmen gave me was like a Post-it note with like some stuff written on it, some numbers and some names of people that wanted to like help out with more stuff, food and everything, but
Okay.
I didn't get a logbook. I don't recall a logbook.
Have you continued your relationship with Alexa since you've known her since she was a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kevin and Dave.
Okay.
I buy Dave, when he was at the house, I would send him lunch because he would say he was hungry, so I'd send him lunch, pizzas and subs, and like, I've always been there. And Alexa, I talk to Alexa all the time, like.
we were talking about Dave about this loan.
I said something to him the other day about it, yes.
What did he say about it? Like, I mean, obviously we know he's,
Not all there.
yeah, there's good days and bad days.
Exactly, yeah. It's a memory, most of it is his memory, is definitely not, I would say, in order. He was talking about a pit bull dog that he had. He was telling me that, I guess he told you guys about a pit bull. He didn't have that dog. That dog he got rid of. That dog was gotten rid of before he married Jen Steinman. When he
Oh, really?
when he moved into her apartment, they got rid of that dog because they had a bad skin disease and everything. And Alexa ended up having a rescue come and get the dog because he left. He went to the apartment with Jen.
So has there been any other investigations that have come through this in this whole time? Obviously it's a kind of a rhetorical question because I know there was. It was another investigation
They've
because of this
launched
stuff.
everything
But
on me.
my question is this, during that time, has this loan amount ever come up before?
No.
Is there a reason that hasn't?
Yeah. With everything going on.
No, I mean, other than just you know, like I knew it looked bad on the surface. I paid it. It was paid. Like, and I just.
Well, how do you prove that it was all paid off? Like, just saying. So that's why I go back to it.
Well,
Again, not trying to be smart, but you know, most people you're talking. I'm not talking about, you know, here's $100 to borrow for this, or I'll pay for lunch, or that kind of stuff. This is $24,000 plus worth of money that, again, with the benefit account, you see there wasn't a logbook, so there wasn't any log to say that, listen, you know, this money came in from this person. I don't know if you would go, how you would do that, if you'd go from the point of, you know, was it, you know, Bob from wherever, Deltona, decided to donate $20, or to the point of just like, on this day there was $150 versus, you know, this goes in and then this check goes to pay this bill, or this, you know, the house is falling behind, this money went to this bill, to account, like who and how is it overseen at that point, and then, well, I'm going to take a loan out of the account, like
For myself.
for you to purchase a home. Was there there's no documentation for that whatsoever, and or when you go to make payments back onto it, is there documentation for that? Any logs for that? Any receipts?
I mean, other than out of my bank statements, I guess, or the credit card statements, and they have record of it. Even Greg Cook found out.
You don't even want to know how Good
So-
Samaritan keeps their records. You don't even want to know.
Well, I mean,
So-
I can find it on the credit cards. It's to Good Samaritan, for Dave Fouts, because
And what bank account was that out of? That you had at the time?
BB&T. I still have that account.
Okay, same account.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then yeah, because
what kind of credit card? You still have the credit card you used?
yeah, I think it was there was two. It was a Discover, I think, and my American Express, I believe. But I still have them, so I could check and pull them. But yeah,
Why did you have this conversation with Dave? You said last week about the loan.
because he brought it up. He said Carlin came over and she was like talking about I stole money from him. I told him, I said, Dave, I didn't steal money from you. I had borrowed money and I paid it to Good Samaritan. I said, that's where it's at. I said, because he had a $50,000 bill at Good Samaritan. And him and Alexa had signed paperwork for a lien on the house, the one in Daytona, if it wasn't paid. And
It was a promissory note.
yes, so, and I confirmed with Alexa, that's where I paid it. So it was less than that.
Where's
Less
Alexa
than
now?
50. North Carolina.
Do you have a current phone number for her?
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know who has my phone, but yeah.
I have your phone.
Okay.
When's the last time you talked to Dave?
He was on the phone with me when you guys were at the door, and he kept calling back, so.
And you say you talked to Kevin too?
Not as much as Alexa and Dave, because Kevin's kind of introverted. He stays, to himself, quiet, so, but yeah. I would help him when the air conditioner broke at the house. I'd go over there. I left work and went and helped him work on the air conditioner when him and Dave lived there, and yeah.
Is there any documentation, because you were obviously the captain in Port Orange when all this stuff was going on, is there any documentation from work, emails, messages, because correct me if I'm wrong, but Port Orange gives you a work phone, right?
Yes.
Anything that can back up anything that you're saying as far as loans or money transactions or anything like that?
No, because I didn't use my work phone that much. No.
Okay.
And that's what we're getting at. Is like, so the two charges that you're looking at, as I believe I told you, but grand theft and the exploitation.
You have the same issue.
Well, why didn't somebody just call me and ask me, and I would have presented everything?
Kim, we did an investigation 3-4 years ago, and it never came up. Like this kind of stuff. Like this is the kind of stuff that is you're trying to develop, and this is where you got to understand, coming from my position, and
you kept that, Philip, you
There-
kept that
there's-
close
there's
to your
this-
heart.
Yeah.
There's this thing where the people are screaming that you're doing something shady,
Yeah.
right? And I don't want to get into all the drama of it, because honestly, all I care about is what the facts are. The facts are what it shows, and talking to everybody else, we've never heard the word loan. These $24,000, this loan, and people are coming to you from the PV's angle, FDLE's coming to you, all this stuff, and not once is this the first time we've heard about any of this. And so you see, coming from a transparency point, and you're talking about funds that are being, donations that people are going in there because, Dave is jacked up in the hospital and people are thinking he's going to die, and then, there's house payments to be paid.
They donated
there's
that money
this.
for him.
Yeah, and then there's a loan. So, I mean, you understand where we're coming from?
I do. It's just.
And that's why we're saying, is there any documentation whatsoever that you can show us at any point in time that this was a loan?
I can't. We didn't write anything down. I don't have anything to say that. Other than I paid it. I mean, honest, that's all I have. I don't have that. But, yeah, those other charges, forgery and all the other nonsense, yeah, no. Like, they come at me left and right, and it's just, yeah, those weren't accurate either, and I'm just saying, I'm not blaming anybody, but everybody sat there and listened to two people that came in 2 years after the fact and are listening to Dave, who you just said yourself has good days and bad days, and is taking their word verbatim without ever asking me anything. Nobody has come to me about any of this at all until now.
Well, because as this has been going on since 2016, there's been so much
Turmoil everywhere.
Turmoil there, but then there's a little smoke here, then there's a little smoke here, and people are going back and forth, and it's coming from all angles.
And then all of a sudden we find that. We find these.
You're not talking about a small amount of money. Like, you were a captain at the police department.
I know.
If you guys were having a picnic and you went and used money from the police department, would you not have to bring receipts back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know
You
what
have
it
to
is.
keep
Like,
track of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
the
buy
checks,
gas, I have to get a receipt.
the checks had the police department's address on it, right? South Clyde Morris?
Yes, I think so.
So, I
'Cause
mean-
Carmen set it up, yes, so.
Did Carmen know that you took this loan?
Mm-mm.
Like,
Why
it's
did
the same.
Carmen come off of the checking account? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
She was on it, and then she came off of it.
Well, it depends who you ask.
I'm asking you.
I know, but I'm just saying, she came to me and said that it was just too much going on, she was too stressed, she didn't have time for this, because she was doing her victim advocate stuff, and she just didn't want to, have to be involved. So I said, okay, and she said, you're friends with the family, you can do it. So
It was just too much.
it was just too much, she was
Okay.
too much.
Because in her FDLE interview,
The original one?
yeah, the original
Oh,
one,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think she said something about she thought there was some shady stuff going on. And I didn't know, I was
Right.
like, nobody asked, well, what did you see that you thought was shady?
The
So-
shady stuff is what they're referring to when they try to say that we fraudulently signed Dave's name on the insurance policy.
Okay.
That they still have yet to not get any of that correct, because the insurance policy was not on Dave. I mean, it was on Dave, but they're saying the money that came in was on Dave, but it's not. It was the policy he had on his Jennifer Steinman wife.
Which was the wife he had before,
No.
the first Jennifer.
No, so that's where it gets messed up. So Dave had a policy on himself, and that's where they had the Jennifer Fouts, which was believed to be his first wife, Jennifer.
Is that the one that killed herself?
Yes.
Okay.
The second Jennifer, excuse me, he had a policy on her. So if she passed away, he was the beneficiary of that money.
Okay.
And that's what was paid. The other policy is non-existent. It doesn't exist because he didn't die and it's not paid, so. But that's what I'm saying.
Right, so again, we go from there, all that happens, there's the signatures, there's all that stuff. Meanwhile, after forensic exams of financials shows, wait a second, there's a wire transfer, there's a check, and here we are.
I think where he's going with this is, you got a bunch of people screaming, oh, she's doing shady shit, she's stealing, blah, 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 and then we come across this where nobody's ever mentioned anything about it. So,
The $24,000 out of
that's a lot of money,
account.
to forget to say something or to leave out, I mean, you've been around.
Right, I agree. And
you've been sitting in these chairs,
because I had paid it, I thought it was, to me, it was done, I had paid it, I was in good faith with it, and you're right, I didn't.
But meanwhile, you say
discuss
that,
it.
and Alexis filing in the court that
she ain't got no money.
she ain't get no money, and that the house is going in foreclosure, and this and that, and meanwhile.
It's not meanwhile.
No,
The house
meanwhile.
was in foreclosure
Right, I'm saying is,
before.
But you said it was like
What
2
I-
or 3 payments behind, so we'll even say $10,000.
Right.
You could have paid that, 2.5 times. If we're using 10, which it was less than that, which you
Yes.
probably could have paid it 3 or 4 times, or got it up to the thing. And I'm not saying or got it so you could sell
Okay.
it. Or doing that. It's just, you understand what we're saying? So that's
No, because again, everybody doesn't know the timeline. So Dave was in and out of rehab homes. The money was going to the rehab homes. It wasn't going to the house because we
that
didn't
wasn't
know
my point,
where
though. My point is the
he
fact
was going to
that
be.
there was big chunks of money taken out of a beneficiary account that was set up in David Fouts' name, as you were the captain of the Port Orange Police Department, who was basically the liaison between the PD and the Fouts family at that time.
Yeah, there was a city hall, when their city hall meeting,
When the chief stood up
with the
before
chief
City
stood up
Hall.
and said that you were cleared of whatever and you were the liaison between the police department and the family.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that, but
Right,
yeah.
but that's what we're
Yeah.
saying, is that's the thing, is where we're
By
at.
paying off your loan, the consolidated loan, you probably saved a bunch of money in interest.
No, it was a fixed.
You took it out, I think, in August of 16 and paid it off in December of 16. So, because you were paying $425 a month on that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a benefit to you to have that paid off because you wouldn't have paid interest, or at least the amount. I can't remember what the interest was on the loan offhand, but I mean, I guess the best way to put it, there's no way to decorate it. It just doesn't look good, and that's why we're here,
But we're here because you couldn't find that I paid it? Like, I mean, I
The
get the other
statute,
stuff, but.
the exploitation statute is broad. It's depriving somebody permanently or temporarily. So, plus on top of everything else, I mean, there's not that, you're acting in your official capacity as the captain. Those kids, you said in your interview, you did everything you did for those kids. And I believe you. They were young, they don't know what they're doing. They got $250,000 coming in this direction, $48,000 coming from this direction, and then all this money coming in from the community. They probably needed some guidance. And I know they had 2 attorneys on either side working with them.
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
Right.
But if I'm sure Alexa probably looks at you as a mother or a figure, older sister, somebody that she would look to trust. I trust your decisions. Hence why you probably had control of that account. And I mean, do you feel like that was the right decision to make?
No,
You
I
know?
know, I mean,
I understand people who get, trust me, I'm not,
crappy,
financially I've got
so-
debt, you know what I mean?
But again, going back to the statute, is they have attorneys that have stepped into this thing. If you went to the attorneys and said, hey, can you write me up a little legal thing, payment schedule, because I'm about to borrow $24,000 from the benefit account, what do you think the attorneys would have said? Like, would have legally guided them at that point?
Yeah, I don't know what they would have said, but.
I mean, you think they would have said it's a good idea? Like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying, is that where you come into is it wasn't done, and they're there, and again, that's why we're sitting here, is because there is some deceitfulness that was, like it or not, like, nobody else was made aware of this. Nobody was made aware of this.
Outside of Alexa and I, no. You're right.
So that's where we go back to, is this, I mean, there's some deceitfulness to it that happens, and I get it, because, and according to the records, the consolidation loan, I think, had like a 26% interest rate.
Yeah.
So when we're saying, like, yes, when you get a loan in August and it gets paid off in December, it saves you a ton of money in interest.
I didn't realize. I thought it was just a set payment, and it was just this
Yeah,
is it.
according to, like,
So,
I mean, that's high. 26% is
pay the amount due, and that was it. So, like,
right.
I mean,
And just, you know, that's
well, if it's a consolation, I mean, I paid the money, and I paid interest on that money that I paid back. So, I mean, not that it justifies anything, but I'm just saying, like, it, like, I don't know.
anything else.
Does Kevin know about the loan? Did he know anything about it?
Mm-mm.
Did you talk to Kevin about the sale of the house in Port Orange or in Daytona or anything like that when he sold the house last year?
I did.
What was that conversation like?
I asked why he was selling it, and he was basically, you know, because I guess the pool was broke, the roof was bad, there's other issues with the house, and he said that, I guess, I don't know how she was involved, a realtor, but approached him and said, well, why don't you sell it, type thing, so he sold it. I told him, I said, I don't know about that, because, you know, your dad's in, where was he at the time? In Ormond. I can't think of the name of it.
The apartments or
No, it was it's at US 1 and 95.
Vista Manor?
Vista Manor, yes. So he was like, well, they moved him out, so, because they came and moved Dave out of the house and took everything, and he'd been out of the house for quite some time, some months at that, so.
So let me just ask you one more question about what's his name? Dave, is it David Sweats? What's his first name?
Joe Sweats.
Joe Sweats. Did he ask where the check came from? I mean, you guys were dating, right? You said he had to go so did he know that the money came from the benefit account?
He went with the check.
So the check that said, that you wrote out that said, because the check says Kim Kilpatrick, Alexa Fouts, and then so David Sweat, or I don't know why I keep saying that. What's his first name? Joe Sweats, I'm sorry. Joe Sweats has this check in hand from the benefit account and takes it to the bank.
To the bank. Because I stayed at
to get
the
a
title
cashier's check?
Yes.
And you stayed at the title company?
Yes, because I was at the title company.
Well, I have one more question on too. Why didn't you have Alexa sign the check?
She wasn't. Where was she that day? I think she was at work. She was at work when I contacted her, and because I forget if she was working at the Subway or the phone place at the time, because she had a couple jobs she was working.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other issue was the title company. So the one, like I said, the money didn't come through from the sale of my house, and then I had to be at the other place in Daytona by 3 or 4 o'clock, I guess, for the closing. And then even when I closed on that house, I still couldn't go to the house because the first title company still hadn't fixed the situation. So I ended up having to rent a hotel for me and Joe and the kids, and I was like essentially no house at that time, so until everything can get sorted out, so. But yeah, like had a U-Haul truck and everything sitting there, so.
Is there any documentation as far as like in your phone, contacting them back and forth, text messages, anything like that, that can be recovered as far as talking to Alexa about this loan?
No.
Even anything recent?
Because, no, I don't have my phone. Yeah, I mean, not the specifics, because she had called me. She called me, texted me. Daytona detective wanted to talk to her.
Okay, so she knew that, so we do have the right number then.
So
As
I
I left her a message and asked her
I
to
said,
talk to her.
go ahead and talk to, like, it's like, if you don't feel comfortable with the questions, you don't have to answer it. And then she wanted to talk to Guardiano first, the attorney. And then after I had talked to Dave, I said, look, it's just about me borrowing the money, so not a big deal. And then that was it. So I think that's in my phone.
It's in the car, isn't it? Does the phone have a code? To get in it?
Yeah, my hand.
Is it do you have a problem with us looking to see any of that?
No.
Okay. Is there a way that he can write something down on a piece of paper to get into the phone? You said, it looks like it's an Android. I have an Apple. So it's codes, but Androids have these patterns, right?
Yeah,
Is that what it is?
Just an L.
It's an L?
It's just an L. Yeah.
Okay. An L.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like an L.
Yeah.
Two dots over.
Okay. I think we're covered. You have any questions, concerns?
So I just want to be very clear, like just because you sat here today and said it was a loan, I mean, there's going to be some other stuff that will obviously have to take place, but the fact is we're still sitting with the fact that this probably could have been something that could have been squashed years ago. And since it's one of those things that we've had to dig through all this and it's been discovered, again, it shows that deceitfulness, and that's why we're here. And it's like, so I mean, obviously there's still an arrest warrant that was signed for you this morning, so you're gonna have to go through that process to do that. Okay?
Yeah, I still don't understand why nobody called me to ask about any of this.
People have come to you though.
Not about this.
Well,
you're right.
People didn't. Most people, for me, a lot of the times, and I was just actually telling him, sometimes I'm truthful to a fault. I
was embarrassed.
It's something I get it.
And like I said, I had paid it, and I'm still, involved with them and help when I can and do what I can, and it's just.
Right, but it is still going
back
back into the world that all three of us live in. Too is there's always as things are starting to heat up. One of the best things that you can do, which would be to go to the supervisor and say, "Listen, this is what happened. This is the deal we made," and none of that was ever done either.
Yeah, is there anybody like Proctor was there, the chief? Anybody aware of any of that? Any of the lieutenants, captains?
No, because
this is probably chief. This is probably what they're screaming about. They did give me a loan.
Well, no. I know. But they're screaming, and that's part of the.
I use that just as I'm not.
No, I know, but
screaming.
I'm just saying it's part of the reason I kept it maybe close to heart, because they were attacking everything anyhow. If I dated something wrong, they're attacking it, and they were implicating the chief on that or the whoever, and it was just. The chief ended up leaving, the city manager ends up leaving, I end up leaving, because they're just, you can't even turn left without them saying, okay, you turned too sharp, and there's a million different complaints on. Greg Cook right now is saying somehow I managed to infiltrate the city's whole internet system and shut down the whole internet system for like a month or two. Like, I don't even know how I would do that, but.
Either do I.
But
through subpoenas and investigative means, lo and behold, there's these two transactions.
Yes, I agree. And, you know, like I said, I kept it to myself.
And
Let me ask you this,
Good.
as the investigation goes on, because obviously, you know, it's not gonna stop here, there's more stuff to do. Is there anything else that we're gonna come across?
Not at all.
Nothing as far as the money going from the GoFundMe, because from what I understand, you took the money out of the GoFundMe, you put it into a account with the PBA, and because there were PBA checks that were
Yeah.
deposited into that SunTrust.
Yes,
So you took cash out of the GoFundMe, deposited into, I don't know what bank account that is, and then wrote a check into the other account, a PBA check, right?
yeah. The office, Jessica, she has a log of that money. I
Okay.
know. I know
Okay.
she has that.
There's a log
So-
of the money that came out of the GoFundMe, went into whatever checking account the PBA has, and then a check written into the SunTrust account from
Who
that.
was your position with the PBA at the time?
I was president of the PBA. That was the job that I lost because of Cook and Light. So, yes. And that was my income I lost on that one.
It was a paid position.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one, probably might be one of the reasons why this ended up being, hurting you financially?
No, that was literally just a couple months after I had taken the loan, so.
Okay.
Okay, let me go check with them.
You want some water, Ian? I mean, there's a water fountain over there, but,
Is there a bond or?
it's two $50,000.
Okay.
So 100,000 total.
Okay.
This isn't fun. This isn't fun for anybody.
They're happy. It's all about Cook and Carly being happy. Carly's dating Joe Sweats right now. Like, he could have said something to her, but he doesn't, I'm sure, so.
I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out.
It's just a witch hunt on their part.
Listen, after today, for the most part, this is over.
I hope so.
Look at me, I'm serious. All right, at least as far as I go, this is over.
I mean, it's.
It's time for me to retire. You know, soon.
That's it. It's like, retire, just get away from that drama. I know I did good on my part, paid it back and everything, and it was just, I know on the surface it was bad. I get that. It was, I know. At the time, I was stressed and just a mess, and, you know, and I got Joe with his 2 kids, and that was a whole mess. So, yeah.
How long did you date him?
Just over a year.
He was what, a sergeant or something at the,
He ended up being a lieutenant.
what happened to him?
Well, funny thing, part of the Cook and White witch hunt on me and the chief and everybody, he was diving into IAs that I had worked. You know, it's crazy, and I'm not sides on unions, but they were all trying to push for IUPA to come in, and, you know, maybe not agree with their methods, but they were going into my IAs, not on me, but ones that I had done, because one female ended up getting terminated.
Ones that you oversaw.
Yeah, ones that I did, that I investigated, and so funny thing is, Greg Cook calls in a public records request for anybody that accessed these IAs, which happened to be the ones I did. Well, as they go through, they find out Joe Sweats was in them during the active IA. He was logging in and looking at everything, so it turned into...
You guys can access active IAs?
If it's not marked confidential, so a lieutenant and up can access it.
Okay.
So unless it's
See its progress, you mean?
Yeah. So he accessed, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 different IAs. And
so why was he doing that?
I don't know exactly, but I think they were trying to read the IAs because, like I said, the female ended up getting terminated, and they were all like trying to support her, get rid of the chief, attack the chief, and that's when they found my attestation page which was another just...
I don't know what that is.
When we sign off on our narrative, it's like you swear to it.
Yep.
So I had forgotten that because the shell I was using didn't have it, and Proctor actually caught it, unfortunately, a couple months later. It's like, hey, you didn't swear to these. So I wrote it. I had it sworn to, but I wrote the date at the top was the date it was completed, and then we notarized it with the date it was notarized. So they made like this big thing out of it. But anyhow, so yeah, Joe got terminated for that, and basically oversleeping, not showing up, some other issues. I don't specifically remember, but yeah, it was just a lot of...
Got terminated for oversleeping?
No, well, that in conjunction with not being able to do his job and access to IAs and...
So I guess that would be a problem.
It would be a problem. So, but I wasn't involved with any of that other than him looking at the IAs, but yeah. So, and now, from what I understand, is he's with Carlin, and it's creating a bunch of drama with everybody too, so.
Why wouldn't he say something to her if they're together? You know what I mean?
Well, I think because they're together. So, and she has this vendetta against me, and I honestly have no idea why. Like, I've never had anything with her or Cook or any of them, so I don't know. But yeah.
Well.
And it's funny because Dave is just on the phone bitching about Carlin.
What was he saying?
He can't stand her. He calls her a bitch, and he kicked her out of his condo yesterday, and she tells him he's not allowed to have $50 extra a week, and she wants him to provide receipts for everything he buys, and he said, the guardian, Tom, never said I had to do that, it's my money, and he said he's missing $37,000 out of his trust fund account, but I think that's what she used to pay the attorneys in Jacksonville to sue Politis and Guardiano. So... But, he said he's never even met these attorneys, so.
Well, you gotta take that with a grain of salt, because he says the same things about everybody else,
Everybody,
you know what I mean?
yeah. And that was...
and I really realized it one day when I had a conversation with him about, he was looking for his cars.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some research, and I found out that he had sold his cars prior to the accident.
Yes.
So, to this day, I still don't know what the hell he was driving, other than the motorcycle.
He had a Honda. There was a Honda. Well,
Was
Jen had a Honda, and it was leased, and...
That's why I didn't see it.
And when the lease was up, before the lease was up, that Honda was given back when she passed away.
Okay, so it was a lease. Because I was like, how the hell does he get around other than motorcycle outside of work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because everything was sold before the accident, but he was looking for this truck, and he was looking for that truck, and he was looking for this, and I looked it up, and I was like...
Red Ford, and he got rid of that and got the Honda, and he actually got the Hondas because it was cheaper, and he was all happy about that, and, you know, and he was here's the other, he was giving up on that house. He told people in CID, he's like, they didn't want the house anymore. So they were just gonna let it go, it was too expensive, and they were gonna get an apartment again. So he wasn't paying on the house.
Right.
And, you know, but Cook and all them weren't friends with him and
Right.
didn't know that. And
Right.
of course, you know, when you read papers, it looks bad, but the inside information, they weren't friends with him and didn't know what was going on. So,
Well, I guess, you know, where I was going with that was that when I talked to Dave and I was like, hey, you know, your cars were sold, you sold them before the accident, you know, he kind of was like, oh, okay, you know, so he just kind of seems like whoever he's talking to at the time is which way he's gonna, you know what I mean?
That's how he goes.
That's how he goes, so.
exactly.
That's why, you know, a lot of stuff you can't really, you kind of got to take what he says with a grain of salt. Some of it's probably accurate and some of it's probably just some, you know, his
Right.
brain playing games with him.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. So, and it's a shame though that him and the kids are
Yeah,
completely separated.
yep.
And it's
Yep.
unfortunate because
Did Kevin tell you I came by there and tried to talk to him?
he said he was gonna, and that's the thing. He said and I
I
asked
told him I don't bite.
he did have COVID.
You know?
He did have COVID because he had told me he had COVID. But he talked to his attorney, and supposedly the attorney was going to handle it because they're all in this lawsuit, you know, where they're stealing all this money. The kids didn't steal the money.
I just wanted to talk
I
about the
can tell you
house.
that. So, but yeah,
I just want to talk to him about the house.
I know that house was too much for him to take care of. That, like I said, the roof was bad. The
He
pool.
looks like the kind of guy that barely gets out of the bedroom.
Yeah.
We've done forensic on all the checking accounts, and he's a gamer.
The kid got an NTA for stealing food at work at Walmart because he didn't have money. Like he was stealing food.
That doesn't make any sense to me because you know he had.
That was before he sold the house.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. He had the NTA before he sold the house.
That was when he was living in Daytona.
Mhm.
Oh, I thought it was when he lived back when he went back to Port Orange.
No, he went.
Because he's got plenty of
worked
money in
at
his account right now.
Orange. Yeah, and that's the other thing.
You know, I mean,
The check.
I don't understand it, but
The check from the grandmother when she passed away, that's all just a shit show as
Mhm.
well. Because Dave told me, and I know it's like hearsay and stuff, but Dave told me himself, he's like, I don't care about that. He's like, I just wanted to watch. I'm like, okay, whatever. So, but
you wanted to watch what?
he wanted to watch.
Oh, a watch.
He's like, I just wanted Kevin to buy me a watch. And I was like, I'm sure Kevin will buy you the watch, though. But yeah.
He said something to me, like I said, you can't. He said something to me about his watch being stolen.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he had a watch. I can't verify any of that.
Yeah, that
you know, that's what sucks about a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, and that's when they moved him out of the house. They took everything out of the house that was his, except like I think a busted up dresser in his bed, because they took him to
Port Orange house.
no, the Daytona house. Greg Cook and I think Joe was there and Carlin. They all came and like took his TVs, everything, moved him out of the house, put him in a rehab. Again, depending on Dave's good day or bad day, I said, why don't you just call Kevin? Kevin will let you move back in. It's not a big deal. I talked to Kevin. And he's like, I'm not allowed to talk to Kevin. And I was like, why? And he's like, well, because we're going to sue him for stealing all my money. And I'm like, but you have that money. You guys went to the bank and took that money out of the bank. So,
Talking about the Social Security money. I think it was Social Security disability, which
yeah.
is how that ended up in Daytona's lap.
yeah, so, well,
He
there's
was-
that
was
and the
the payee or
grandmother's.
something?
Yeah, and the grandmother's money. So, the check that came from when she passed away. So, and then Dave bought a trailer for his mom, you
Yep.
know, but
Up in Ormond.
I honestly don't know what ended up with that. I know the sister had control of it.
Sister, I
and
think,
sold it or something, but I don't know if it was willed to her. Or, like Alexa and I, we weren't sure about that. So, but yeah.
At the end of the day, there's a whole lot of victims out of this case. You know what I mean? One thing I would like to see is his kids and him to have a conversation again.
Yeah.
But the problem is that he's not the same guy he was before the accident. I guaranteed that.
Right, definitely not.
You know, so, and I'm sure Alexa's hurt, Kevin's hurt.
Yeah.
Everybody's upset.
And, you know, he's so convinced, unfortunately, by what Carlin has told him. That's what he truly believes. And he will not believe anything else, that they didn't steal from him. So, like, Alexa, you know, she was working the whole time. Like, she was never stealing from him. And then the settlement money came, and they bought the house, and they bought the house to put him in and everything. And then he did have some violent streaks, you know, because he wouldn't.
I think it's kind of expected with brain injuries.
Yeah, and when you would take him to the psychiatrist, he would come back telling you, "I'm a former detective. I know what to tell him. I know how to play this game." You know, it's like, Davey, like, you shouldn't do that, but yeah. So she couldn't get him on meds and stuff to help control the outburst, and that's when one night he's beating on the door, screaming at her, and she called the cops, and he got Baker acted by Daytona. And then she never lived with him after that. She ended up giving the house to him and Kevin, because he was living with Kevin and the grandmother at the time.
But I think that was the issue with the house, is that David has told me numerous times that he thought that quitclaim deed, his name was on it,
It was
and it wasn't.
never in his name. It was
Yeah.
because he was giving away the house and the farm to any woman that would talk to him online. He flew his ex-wife Estelle down from, like, Rhode Island or something.
How many ex-wives does he have?
He was married 7 times. So
7 times?
Yeah. And the last
Jesus.
2 was Jen and Jen. And that was the other thing. He was promising, so before the first Jen Fouts killed herself, she was reaching out to Dave, talking to him. He's wanting her to move in, live with him, have their family there and stuff. And he was going to put the house in her name and everything. And it's like, no, you can't do that. And then he flew Estelle down. Estelle flew down. She was stealing. If anybody
After the accident?
Yeah. If anybody was stealing from him, that was Estelle. But he was okay with it because he said, well, she would cook and clean. And she took his $30,000 scooter, which I'm not sure how he has that price tag on it, but...
Is that the mobile scooter?
Yeah. She took that to Holly Hill buying her drugs. Like, and then Kevin has Daytona come, I think, because he gets her evicted out of the house. Dave buys her an airline ticket. She flies to Nevada. So he was buying iTunes cards. He was doing that whole, you know, the scam where they give the numbers and stuff. He would ride his scooter to Walmart in the middle of the night, go and buy iTunes cards, come back home, give it to the women online, whatever. Kevin still has most of them.
Oh, really?
And he bought Estelle a laptop. They went to Walmart. He bought her a laptop or something. You know, he's just...
See, I understand where all this fucking mess of how David's handling his shit, how his son's handling his shit, and then there's what you did in the mix of it, and it's just like, what the fuck?
I know. Like I said,
And I understand. I understand.
Proud.
I 100% understand that.
So I thought, you know, it was like a temporary fix to the situation that I was confronted with, and, you know, and I paid it and took care of it, and yeah, so.
Yeah, Good Samaritan doesn't keep good books. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'll tell you that right now. So,
Well, I will pull all the statements that I can, because it was only, I think, well, it was 3 big transactions, and then there's the smaller ones, but I still, it was all through my bank account, so I can do that. So.
let me just see what's going on. I'm sure you're ready to get the show on the road.
Can I call my husband so he can get ready to bond me out, I guess?
Yeah.
So I'm not
Just
there?
a minute.
What time is it?
here's some water.
Do you know what time it is? Because I have
It
to make
is-
sure so I can get my
Oh,
son.
yeah, it's 12 o'clock.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get you a phone right now.
Okay.
Alright, I'm just gonna do it like this because it's just to hurry things up because I know you want to call him. What's his number?
295?
386
Yes.
Yep.
2554.
2554. I'm just gonna put it on speakerphone.
Yep.
Hello?
Hey,
Hey.
it's me.
Hey.
So I've been arrested on a warrant.
Yeah. So I heard Heather call me.
Jesus. Okay. Alright. Well, I gotta, I guess, go to the Flagler County Branch Jail, and then the bond's around, it'll be 10,000.
Okay.
But I need somebody to get Ricky, though, at the bus stop at 4.
Yeah. So where are you now? You're still there? You're on your way, or?
Well, I'm
We're
at,
at Flagler.
I'm at the Flagler PD right
Yeah.
now.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know. how much
They've already
longer.
done the warrant paperwork, so you should probably be going out to the jail here shortly.
It should be shortly.
Should be at the Flagler County Branch Jail shortly.
Yeah.
What's the address?
What's that one?
What's
Off,
secret?
it's off 11.
Okay.
Alright? Oh.
All
Do you
right.
have Sandy's number? To get
Yeah,
Ricky?
I got it.
Okay,
I can take care of it.
alright. Okay,
Alright, so I'll see you in a bit.
alright, love you.
Okay. Alright, love you, man.
Bye.
Good and bad news travels fast, huh?
Well, that means it's all over the PD in Port Orange.
Why, who's Heather?
She works at the PD. She's
For Port Orange?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Alright, let me see if we can get this moved along for you a little bit faster, alright?
so far and then you gotta go fix. So, and that's why I told, some of our other developers, you gotta get some people. Once they're on investigation done, you gotta have some people.
Yeah, Jay Moore told me there was like shooting like all night in the
Yeah.
house.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it's like family, something like family or something. And they were gonna shut the house down.
Why are you taking my cell phone?
Alright. Chris Shepherd, just wants a receipt, because we're taking the phone, or he's gonna take the phone.
Why?
Because I guess they're gonna do a search warrant on your phone. So, it's just a receipt for you, so that he can give it back.
What?
He has it. What kind of phone is it? I know it's a flip, but I don't know what it is.
Samsung Flip Z.
Flip Z?
Yeah.
One. This is their paperwork, so I don't know. Let's see.
So, Good Samaritan could show nothing?
Good Samaritan's a train wreck. Good Samaritan's an absolute soup sandwich when it comes to records.
But they didn't show anything.
They don't have any record.
See, that's where Greg Cook has documents, emails, where he sends that I paid, they had a personal check for $17,000 from me.
Yeah, no, they ain't got nothing.
And,
They ain't got
Carla
none of
knows that.
No, they ain't got
Because
none of
she questioned it as well.
that. No, I know that they have said that to me.
Yeah, because they went there.
But the problem is there's no record.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying, is that Good Samaritan has no record of anything.
Okay.
It's pink, right?
Purple case.
Okay. I guess, I hope this is his. Can you just sign there?
Yeah,
give you a
I'd like
copy?
to know why he's taking it, though. If there's evidence on it, he can take photos of it. I wasn't consenting for him to take the phone.
Well, I think he's gonna take the phone just
Based on what, though?
based on to see conversations, I guess, with you and the kids and Dave.
Well,
Especially since Dave.
Dave's
was calling.
easy because Carlin has me blocked from everything, so
What do you mean?
she has his phone blocked, so I can't call him or text him. He can call me and text me, but I can't call him,
Okay.
so.
Okay. So let me ask you this, just before we walk out of here.
Yeah.
Why didn't you ever ask Dave about borrowing the money?
I don't know, I guess. One, I felt like you probably wouldn't remember anything anyhow, and two,
Right.
I really didn't trust anything, because Carlin and Justin were, like, recording him to come after me on other issues. Like, one day I went to visit him in Daytona on lunch, so I was a detective, lieutenant captain.
Oh, I'm talking about then, like in 2000, the end of 2016,
Oh,
17, when everything happened.
Yeah, I don't know, he was in the homes, and I just didn't, so.
You could talk to him then, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is
No,
he
I
better
talked to
now
him.
than he was then?
Yeah, I'd say. Well, yeah, I mean, he's definitely more mobile and
Right.
everything. He's still probably just as, like, lucid on thinking and talking that he was back then, so, I mean.
Okay. All right, I'm trying to move some of these people along.
How am I gonna get all my baseball shit? Fuck.
He's not signing. Huh? Who? What are you talking about? Well, that doesn't change.
Mm-mm.
All right, yeah, let me just recommit that now. The switch comes up, I'll switch the comes out, right? So, I know these guys. You guys maybe tomorrow to get it? All right, I will see you guys. When I have the switch comes up,
All right. Which switch cups
Switches
out?
out. These are not mine, so I have the aluminum ones that are more comfier.
Aluminum.
Yeah, like the aluminum ones that are like coated with the.
You talking about that
the
outside
like
plastic?
little lightweight ones.
I don't know. I've been doing this job so long now. I just use.
Did they have cuffs when you started?
They did.
They did. I wasn't sure how long they've been around.
Mm-hmm.
See, mine have keyholes on both sides.
Oh, was that a little shot? They have keyholes on both sides.
My
Yeah.
personal ones do. I spent. I'm not gonna say how much I spent on them. At least they're not. They don't have anything on them.
Okay. Well, it's good to know that wasn't just me having issues with your key.
Oh, this key?
Yeah. Alright.
That key. Try to eat my key. We
Here,
hold
I'll
it
let you do it.
there.
Okay.
Those. No, don't
Alright.
lock it so you don't tighten up.
That's just a copy that goes with the property.
Oh, for the phone?
Yep.
Okay.
Alright, Kim, good luck, okay?
Thank you. Yeah.
Alright. Go back into my car. Go turn this on.